No matter whether you're rocking the old Nintendo 2DS or the old Nintendo 3DS system, this jailbreak guide has got you covered. I'll show you everything that it takes step by step to jailbreak your own Nintendo 2DS or 3DS system in just a matter of minutes. Fire up your handheld and your PC, because you're about to learn something new. There are two things to notice we get started. The first one is you'll need to have your 2DS or 3DS system connected to the wireless internet. Also, you'll need to have an SD card for your system. I recommend having a card at least 4 GB in size or larger and have it formatted in FAT32 format. This video guide is largely based on the incredible work done by the fine folks over at 3ds.hacks.guide. As I always do when I make one of these videos, I've donated to the guide, and I hope that you'll consider doing the same to support their efforts. To begin the jailbreak process, click the Get Started button on the left side of the screen. You'll find that this is a completely new process for jailbreaking the old model of 2DS and 3DS systems. Read through the information presented on this page, then at the bottom of the page, locate the link that says Continue to Get Started and click on it to go to the next step. From here, when you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you'll be presented with several options to select. First, you'll have to choose whether you have the old model of Nintendo 2DS or 3DS, or the new model of Nintendo 2DS or 3DS. Since this guide is focused on the original or old model Nintendo 2DS or 3DS systems, we'll need the option on the left-hand side of the screen. To pick it, scroll down a bit and you'll see a radio button here which you can click to lock in the setting. Directly underneath that, you'll need to select the official firmware version and the region for your system. This video guide is based around the most recent version of the official system software, which is 11.17.0.50. Directly to the right of that, you'll see there's a letter code here, and it represents the region for the specific firmware. In this case, it's preset to Europe, and I'm in the United States, so I'll need to change this listing from E to U. Be sure to look through the list of region codes to find the one that matches the region code for your own Nintendo 2DS or 3DS system, and then select it from the drop-down list of choices shown here. To lock in these changes, come down underneath the list of drop-downs to confirm and click on it to continue. This completely new jailbreak process can run on a multitude of different platforms, including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, and even Chrome OS. You'll need to select the operating system that you plan to use for the jailbreak process. When you scroll down on this page, you'll see the list of choices represented in graphical form. The window pane on the left side covers you for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, and on the right side, Android and Chrome OS. In this case, I'm going to be using Windows, so I'll select the Windows icon shown here. In the days of not so long ago, you had to grab something like 10 to 12 different downloads just to get the jailbreak process to work. Now, most of it's bundled up in this MSET9 command line interface download package. So to grab this, scroll down on the page until you get to the listing that says what you need. There are two different downloads you'll need to grab here. The first one is the MSET9 release.zip file from the GitHub. To make things a little easier to follow, I'm going to right-click on these download links and just open them up in new browser tabs. The other thing that you're going to need is the 3.x or any version 3 of Python to install on your computer. Again, I'll right-click on the link and then select Open in a new tab so that we can look at these one at a time. A quick note here, if you're using Mac or Linux, you might already have the version 3 of Python on your machine. To do this, you can just open up a command line and copy and paste over the command line prompt that you see here. Alright, let's go grab those downloads. So the first one is going to be MSET9. In the first tab, I have the GitHub page opened up, and I also have this page linked for you in the video description. On the GitHub page, scroll down until you see the listing for assets. Remember, the file that you're looking for is not called MSET9, it's actually called release.zip. No matter which version of release.zip you see here, click on it to download the latest version to your computer. Next up, I'll go to the browser tab for Python. On this web page, you're going to see a button on the left side of the screen that says Download Python version 3 and then a subversion number set. All you have to do is come over to this box that says Download Python on the left side of the screen, then click on it to download the Python 3 installer file to your computer. Don't let this Python stuff stress you out. It's going to be as simple as just pressing numbers on your keyboard to get things to work. So let's go ahead and get Python installed. Open up File Explorer and go to your Downloads folder. You'll see the installer file for Python here. Double-click on the file to start the installation process. Right near the top center of the screen, you'll see an arrow right next to the words Install Now. Click here to install this version of Python to your computer. You'll see a confirmation message on screen once the installation is complete. You can close out the installer now by coming down to Close in the bottom right corner and clicking on it. Now that Python's installed on your system, you can delete the installation file and send it to the recycle bin. And remember, anything that you send to the recycle bin is still archived there for you if you need it later. Next up, you'll need to extract the contents of the release.zip file. Right-click on it, select Extract All, and you can extract this file to the default folder location shown here. Once you have the file extracted, you no longer need it. Right-click on it and delete it to send it to the recycle bin. With the release folder extracted, I'm going to take this File Explorer window and drag and drop it over to the left side of the screen and snap it into place. Next up, you'll need to do a little bit of prep work over on your 2DS or 3DS system. From the main menu, navigate to MeMaker and select it with the A button. Once the MeMaker application loads, you'll need to give it a minute to come up to the message that says Welcome to MeMaker. Once you see this message on screen, you can exit MeMaker by pressing the Home button on your device. Then close out the MeMaker application by tapping OK in the bottom touch display to go back to your device's main menu. Then power off your device by pressing and holding the power button, and then tapping Power Off in the bottom touch display to turn off your system. At this point, go ahead and remove the SD card from your 2DS or 3DS system and insert it into your computer's SD card reader. Once the computer recognizes the SD card being inserted and pops open the File Explorer window, I'll grab that window and drag and drop it over to the right side of the screen and snap it into place. Now it's just a matter of double-clicking into the release folder that you uncompressed earlier, and then grab everything that you see inside the release folder, and then drag and drop all of it directly onto the root of your SD card. Be sure when you drag this stuff over, don't drag it and drop it into one of the subfolders, only drop it directly onto the root of the SD card. At this point, you can go ahead and close out the File Explorer window for downloads and maximize the window for the root of your SD card from your Nintendo 2DS or 3DS. Okay, here's where the magic of Python comes in. There's a batch file on the root of your SD card and it's called mset9.bat. Locate that file and double click on it. This is going to launch a batch file which gives you a menu system that helps you jailbreak your system. Okay, this stuff looks pretty small on mobile, so I'm going to take a moment and go ahead and expand all of this text out full screen to make it easy to read. There you go, that's much better. Remember how I said earlier that using Python was as easy as just pressing numbers on your keyboard? Well, here it is. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, we're jailbreaking the old or original model of 2DS or 3DS system. So you'll need to press the number 1 on your keyboard to select that option. Then press the Enter key on your keyboard to move forward. I find that the older I get, the more I need these, and having a sanity check right now is a really good idea before you jailbreak your system. To that end, you'll want to select option number 1, Perform Sanity Check. Press the number 1 on your keyboard and then press the Enter key to get your sanity check. What you're looking for here in the next series of text messages is a message that says everything appears to be functional. If you see anything else other than this message, follow the instructions on screen and then run the sanity check again until you get this message indicating that everything is okay and you're ready to move forward. Once the checks are complete, press the Enter key to exit the batch file and go back to your Windows desktop. Remove the SD card from your computer and put it back into your 2DS or 3DS system. Then power on your device. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. Use the D-pad on your device to hover over the settings icon. But here's the deal. Don't touch the touchscreen and don't press any of the buttons. The only thing you want to do here is just hover over the settings icon. Once you're hovering over the settings icon, power off your device by pressing the power button and then tapping Power Off in the bottom touch display. Once your device is fully powered off, go ahead and press the power button again to turn it right back on. Once the system menu comes up, you should be right back over the system settings icon. Now you can launch settings by either pressing the A button or tapping on it on the touchscreen. Once the system settings menu comes up, follow this specific path. First, tap on Data Management in the bottom touchscreen. Then tap on Nintendo 3DS. And finally, tap on the setting called Extra Data. You should see a data listing here for MeMaker that you created earlier when you launched the application. Okay, whatever you do, don't touch the bottom touchscreen and don't press any button on the device. Here's what you need to do instead. Leave it exactly like it is, sitting at this menu, then remove the SD card from your 2DS or 3DS system. Back on your computer, insert the SD card from your system back into your computer's SD card reader. We're going to relaunch that mset9 batch file by double-clicking on it to open it up. Once again, that text is pretty small, so I'll take a moment to blow everything up to make it easier to read, especially on mobile. Just like you did the first time you ran the batch file, type number 1 on your computer and press the return key. This time in the submenu, instead of getting a sanity check, you're ready to inject the payload. Type number 2 on the keyboard for inject mset9 payload and press the return key. Give the batch file a moment to do its magic. Near the bottom of the list of all of this text, you should see a message that says mset9 successfully injected. If you don't see this message, something didn't go right and you'll need to go back through the list of steps that were previously shown in this guide before proceeding forward. Once you get this confirmation message, press the Enter key on your keyboard to close out the batch file and go back to your Windows desktop and the File Explorer window. When you last left your 2DS or 3DS system, it was on that menu system for extra data. From here, don't touch anything, don't touch the touchscreen, don't touch any buttons. Just reinsert the SD card back into your 2DS or 3DS system. And just like magic, it will launch the SafeB9S installer. It couldn't be any easier to use SafeB9S installer. All you have to do is press the A button on your device to automatically install the Luma 3DS custom firmware to your system. Once the process is complete, press the A button to continue. Your system will restart and boot into the Luma 3DS configuration menu. Don't change any of the settings that you see here. Just press the Start button on your device to close out the Luma 3DS configuration menu, launch Luma 3DS custom firmware, and go to the home menu of your 2DS or 3DS system. Power off your 2DS or 3DS by pressing and holding the power button, and then tapping Power Off in the bottom touchscreen display. Once your system is powered off, remove the SD card and place it back into the SD card reader on your computer. Wait for the SD card to be recognized in the File Explorer window with the root of the SD card to appear. This section is equally as important as the others. You need to delete mset9 from your SD card or your applications will run into problems or even crash on your device. Locate the mset9 batch file and double-click on it. Once again, I'll blow up the text here to make it easy to read on mobile devices. We're still working with the old or original model of 2DS or 3DS, so type the number 1 on your keyboard and press the Enter key. In the submenu that appears, type number 3 on your keyboard for Remove mset9 and press the Enter key. You'll see a few text messages appear on your device. You're specifically looking for one that says Successfully Removed mset9. If you don't see this message, you need to go back through the process again. Once you've verified that mset9 has been deleted, press the Enter key on your keyboard to go back to File Explorer and your Windows desktop. Back on the 3ds.hacks.guide website, come down to the bottom of the page and click on the link that says Finalizing Setup. There's one more download that you need to get in order to complete the jailbreak process. Scroll down on this page until you see the headline that says what you need. Underneath here, you'll see a listing called Finalizing.zip. Click on that link to grab the file. It's a direct download from 3ds.hacks.guide and you don't have to go off to the GitHub or anywhere else to get it. When you last left File Explorer, you were on the root of the SD card for your 2DS or 3DS system. I'm going to grab this File Explorer window and drag it to the right side of the screen and snap it into place. From here, I'm going to come down to File Explorer, right-click, and select Downloads. Then I'll take this File Explorer window and snap it into place on the left side of the screen. You'll see the finalizing.zip file in your Downloads folder. Right-click on it and select Extract All. You can use the default path for it, and once you're done, right-click on the zip file and send it to the recycle bin. Double-click into the folder called Finalizing. Inside this folder, highlight everything that you see here. You'll need to copy everything inside the folder directly onto the root of your SD card. Be sure when you drag and drop these over, don't put them in one of the subfolders. Be very careful to reach outside the subfolders and then drop them onto the root of your SD card. Also, If it prompts you to replace anything on your SD card, you absolutely need to do so that all of the files go to the right places. Time for a little bit of cleanup work on your computer. Go back to the root of your Downloads folder in File Explorer. From here, you can select both of the folders that you downloaded and uncompressed, right-click them, and delete them and send them to the recycle bin. And remember, they're archived there should you need them in the future. Remove the SD card from your computer and insert it back into your 2DS or 3DS system. Before you turn on the system this time, press and hold the select button and then press the power button. What you're doing is testing to make sure that custom firmware is working correctly. If everything's good up to this point, you should see the Luma 3DS configuration menu appear again. Once you've verified that you can load the Luma 3DS configuration menu, press Start on your device to lock in the changes and go back to the main menu of your device. Once you get to the main menu, launch System Settings by tapping on it or selecting it with A. Once the menu for system setting appears, let's run a system update. These are perfectly safe to do while running Luma 3DS. Go to Other Settings, then tap the right arrow several times until you get to the end of the list of pages. From the last page, you'll see a menu choice for System Update. Tap on it to select it. Tap OK in the bottom right corner. Then when it appears, tap I accept in the bottom right corner. You should already be on the latest system software, version 11.17, but the system may tell you that there's an update pending, and if it does, you're safe to run it through Luma 3DS. Otherwise, you should see a message on screen indicating that your system is up to date. Once you get this message, tap OK on the bottom of the screen to continue. Back at your 2DS or 3DS menu, you'll need to access what's called the Rosalina menu. To do this, press the left shoulder button, down on the D-pad, and the select button. This will open up the Rosalina menu in the bottom touch display. From the main menu of Rosalina, use the D-pad to move the blue highlight arrow down to Miscellaneous, and then select Miscellaneous with the A button. From here, use the D-pad to move the highlight arrow down to Dump DSP Firmware and select it with A. This will dump the sound firmware from your 2DS or 3DS system to the SD card so that homebrew applications can use sound. Press the B button to go back one level in the navigation structure to Miscellaneous Options. From here, use the D-pad to scroll the arrow up one listing to nullify User Time Offset and select it with the A button. This will make sure that the time on your device and actual time are set together. You'll need to reboot your device for this change to take effect, and we'll take care of that in just a moment. For now, press the B button 3 times to exit the Rosalina menu and go back to your device's main menu. Turn off your system by pressing and holding the power button, and then tapping Power Off in the bottom touch display. You'll need to turn your system right back on, but before you do this, press and hold the Start button on your device, and then press the Power button. This will open up a new menu to you called God Mode 9. Focus your attention on the bottom touch display. Press the Home button to open up what's called the God Mode 9 Action menu. Use the D-pad on your device to move the blue highlight arrow down until you see the listing called Scripts. Then press the A button. Inside the listing for scripts, you should see one single listing called Finalize. Select it with the A button. You'll get a list on screen of all of the things that Finalize takes care of for you. It's amazing that automation takes care of these because you used to have to do all of these tasks manually. Press the A button for Yes to continue. You'll be notified that you need to unlock your SysNAND or system flash storage. Press the A button to continue. You're going to see a combination listing on screen that you need to enter using the D-pad and a series of buttons. That code may very well be different on your device, so rather than enter what you see on screen here, enter the one that's shown directly on your own device's screen. The Finalize process takes around 6 or 7 minutes or so in real time. It's going to install some applications and also create a flash memory or NAND backup of your 3DS or 2DS system on your SD card. This is important just in case anything ever goes wrong with your device in the future. Once the Finalize process is complete, press the A button on your device to continue. This will automatically power off your system. Now you can remove the SD card from your 2DS or 3DS and put it back into your computer one last time. Once the SD card is recognized by your computer, a File Explorer window should appear showing you the contents of the root of the SD card. For now, I'll grab this window and snap it into place on the right side of the display. you'll need to create a new folder anywhere that you like on your computer. I'm going to name this folder 3DS Backup just so that I can remember what's in it if I ever need to access its contents again in the future. But you can name this folder anything that you'd like to help you remember what's inside of it. Once you have this folder created, grab everything that's on the root of your SD card and then drag and drop all of that content into this folder. This is going to create a backup of your NAND and everything else that you created during this process, so that if you ever have to restore the SD card, or maybe even the 3DS or 2DS system itself, you'll have a backup available to you anytime you need it. You'll also have redundant backups in two separate places, one on your computer and one on the device's SD card for safekeeping. Remove the SD card from your computer, insert it into your 2DS or 3DS system, and power on your device. Get ready to feel like a kid on Christmas Day because it's time to open some presents. Press A on each of these present boxes to see the homebrew applications they reveal. First, there's Anemone, which lets you add custom themes to your 2DS or 3DS system. Next up is Checkpoint, a save games manager for your 2DS or 3DS. Next up, there's an application called FBI, which is used to install .CIA extension files onto your 2DS or 3DS system. Next up is FTPD. It's a file transfer protocol application that lets you connect remotely to devices like a computer for transferring files. There's also the Homebrew Launcher. In addition to installing CIA files directly to your device, you can run .3dsx extension Homebrew applications through the Homebrew Launcher. There's also the Universal Updater, which is a Homebrew content updater that's installed directly on your device for easy access. Your system's jailbroken, but there's still one major problem. There's nothing fun to do with it yet. Let's fix that. Learn how to play your favorite retro game ROMs using this video shown on screen and linked in the description and pinned comment. I'll see you over there.